I'm the host, master of ceremonies. Let me know how I'm doing. If I do well enough, maybe I'll do this instead of being president or something like that. It's just like all he wants to be is an even bigger game show host. That's all that he wants. We just should give him that.
It's just really embarrassing. And by the
It is.
way, I mentioned this, so I want to play it for you just so you can hear it. By the way, I hope I don't have that weird lisp on here sometimes that Substack does with me. Hold on. Here it is. Okay, you ready?
Sound fine to me.
There were no white people in the Bible. Can you hear that? Mary and Joseph were Middle Eastern. I'll do it again. Just so you can hear it. Are you ready? Oh, I got to put it up to the mic. Hold on. Here we go. There were no white people in the Bible. Mary and Joseph were Middle Eastern. Jesus wasn't born in December. Biblical hospitality involves welcoming strangers. The nativity story involves migration, poverty, and border crossing. Jesus didn't speak English, and the Bible wasn't originally in English. Jesus was a refugee. Shrimp cocktail is not biblically approved.
The shrimp cocktail's just catching a stray there. What?
It's serious, but there were no white people in the Bible. I never thought about that. There were none. But if
No.
you say that to an American, like evangelical, their hands would pop off.
Well, any church you walk into in the United States, there's almost always like some depiction of Jesus as a white guy. And like, I don't really care. I think my view of it is as a Catholic is we're all made in the image of God. So like you can, I guess, portray the image of God however you want, but let's not pretend that the actual Jesus, to the extent that he existed, which I believe that he did, not a white guy. Definitely not.
What did they say? Mary and Joseph were Middle Eastern.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't tell you know who that.
Did you see the Pope yesterday and the day before was talking about how important it is to take care of immigrants and reminding people of what the actual story means. I mean, there's a lost translation here, particularly I think amongst American evangelicals who don't want to face what they're supporting versus, what they worship.
Is he going to be deported if he comes here next time, the Pope?
I don't know, but Trump said he might deport Santa if he's a bad Santa. Did you see that?
Okay, that was one.
We're only letting the good Santa in, not the bad Santa, the one that brings me lumps of coal.
What was that? What was that?
I don't know. Did you see the clip of him talking? For folks that didn't know, Trump was taking calls with little kids Christmas Eve night, which they always do. And he took one. This was my favorite one because I just thought it was legitimately funny. He asked the kid, sorry, I'm going to crack myself up. He was like, "What'd you ask Santa for?" And the kid was like, "I asked him for a pinball machine." And Trump was like, "Oh, pinball. That's amazing. Have you ever heard Pinball Wizard by Elton John?"
We're
going to send a kid a copy of the record if you've never heard it before. And I was like, he cooked with that one. That was hilarious.
Oh, Pinball Wizard.
Yep.
What movie was that in?
What's the name of that movie? The Chat'll know. I forget.
He's the pinball wizard. What? I forgot that movie. Did you see the one where the one that people were like, okay, that was creepy with the 8-year-old girl?
Yeah, he's never beating the allegations. He's never going to beat them. It was bad. You have to laugh just because he's just so fucking weird. He's just such a weirdo.
But do you think people are being like overly sensitive about that? Or is it just because of the circumstances and they're the ones that really screwed this up? Hold on. Here it is.
I'm fine. You sound so beautiful and cute. How old are you? I'm so.
I mean, I think that's probably innocent, but like if you have a history of all the things that he has said and done in the Epstein files, like you sort of get what you deserve from the internet on that one. I don't know.
I mean, I felt I'm like, I'm being too sensitive, but it's his own doing and his people's own doing because they're making him seem guilty. And maybe there's nothing to feel guilty about explicitly. But I think having that many connections and ties and the proximity to Jeffrey Epstein to me I believe it's disqualifying. And if you look at anybody else would have been driven from office because of this.
Yeah. But he's Teflon Don, man. You can't do anything to him. It's just, it's depressing. Did you see yesterday at Christmas Eve, they announced in the middle of the day that they found 1 million Epstein files that they had never been through. They just randomly found them. And now they're like paying FBI agents overtime pay on Christmas to go through them. And I'm like, the fuck did they never actually investigate this? I just don't. I know I'm laughing, but it's just absurd how poor this investigation has been
But you know what
across
that is,
multiple
Mike?
administrations.
Say again?
Well, it seems to me like with Epstein, they've never really investigated it. So now they found like a million documents that they've never looked at before. So
Yeah.
Pam Bondi over 4th of July was like, oh, we looked at everything. There's nothing there. We're done. Now they're like, we found a million new documents. It's just, it's ridiculous.
Well, to me, it's more of an indication that they never intended to release these files anyways.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that I think by not looking at all of the files, they're like, we're never going to release them. We don't want to know. And it gives them plausible deniability.
Yeah. And it just continues to protect a class of very rich and powerful people that are never going to be held accountable. I mean, there's something like 1,000 young girls, young boys have been trafficked and abused throughout this scandal, and no one's gone to prison for it. The only one who has is Ghislaine Maxwell, and she's running a minimum security prison in Florida, apparently. So, and she's going to get a pardon at the end of it. So, I don't know. It really pisses me off.
Well, it's what was weird to me, and I didn't even think about it at the time. But when Todd Blanche said her life was in jeopardy, or she had been getting death threats and all that, does that happen? Look, that happens to everyone pretty much who goes away for exploiting children. If you do you know what to a kid, right? If you mess around with a kid, essay a kid, whatever it is that you want to call it. If you do that, usually that's like one of the lowest things in prison that people don't put up with. And usually people get a roughing up, beat up, and many times I'm not saying that I want her to, but that's just the reality of going to prison and being convicted of something like she did. And so why is she special than any other person who has gone to prison for doing something with a child or an underage person?
Well, and let's throw the comparison out there with this administration for a second, because if you're somebody who came to the United States illegally, trying to build a better life, take care of your family, get a job, you get caught, they're going to throw you into some torture prison in the middle of God knows where they won't allow 60 Minutes to do a report on it and publish that on live TV this week. No sympathy for those people, but a rich white lady who abused kids gets to go to a minimum security prison and run it and eventually likely get a pardon because she's got dirt on Donald Trump. So who gets sympathy, who doesn't, who gets help, who doesn't in Trump's America is depressing.
Yeah, it's the
It's turned
privilege of it
depressing quickly.
all. There is some crazy privilege going on in this country
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, well, have you seen the stuff with the pardons too? There's a Wall Street Journal article about there's basically two paths to getting a pardon. You can either go the official route and you can hire a lawyer and pay them $1 million and go through that pardon process and likely bribe somebody, or you can pay $100,000 and go to Mar-a-Lago and corner Trump at one of the parties and tell him about the unfair prosecution you've been through, and then he'll pardon you like a week later. That's what happened with that crypto billionaire. They like cornered him at a party, and like 4 days later, he pardoned the guy.
Well, they said he was part of lawfare or like a
Yeah.
targeted.
Yeah, same thing with, like, Henry Cuellar, and they thought Henry Cuellar was gonna switch parties for him, and he didn't, to his
I
credit.
know, and that pissed him off.
Yeah. I mean, that whole thing pisses me off. Cuellar should have faced a judge, period, or faced a jury, excuse me. He's one of
Wait a
my
minute.
people.
Wait a minute. How can you say that? You're a Democrat. You're supposed to be a hypocrite like MAGA and say no. It's because he's a Democrat. He shouldn't be prosecuted. He should get out of jail.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, like, look, I've worked for Cuellar in the past,
I'm
perfectly
being
nice man.
sarcastic, right? You know that.
I know,
Yeah.
but, the audience doesn't know who I am necessarily. Uh, but no, I like, the corruption and the grift and the fraud in this country is just out of control, and and it's both sides. It's not the same on both sides, but Cuellar got a pardon. God knows what he agreed to, and plenty of Democrats in the Epstein files. I mean, Larry Summers is being run out of Harvard right now, so I don't know. I don't think these
Yeah.
are things that are partisan. To be
Can you
honest
tell
with
us what is happening with Larry Summers and Harvard? Is it true that he's being, losing board seats and they're taking his name off of stuff and he's being pushed
Yeah,
out of Harvard? Is that true?
that's
Tell
what
me
that's
about it.
what they're reporting. Like, his office is like completely empty. He's been asked not to return. He's basically going to live a private life from here on out, and I guess that's a fair punishment, but not really, because we don't. I guess we don't fully know what Larry Summers did, but he was also the backup executor on Jeffrey Epstein's will, which is just super weird. So it's again this like cabal of like very wealthy, powerful people supporting one another, defending one another, and I don't know if we're ever going to know the full extent of what Summers or anybody else did. And I don't want to accuse Summers of doing something that I don't know that he did. It's at least guilt by association, but I don't know.
So, well, my question then is, Mike Nellis, then why is Donald Trump still have his seats and he's on the board of the Kennedy Center and he's the president of the United States? If Larry Summers, who really has fewer connections than Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, then why the disparate treatment?
No shame. I mean, I have no other. It's Trump holds all the cards. He's president of the United States. He controls the DOJ. He's got Congress wrapped around his little fat fingers, and I don't know. I mean, I was reading some anonymous quotes from House Republicans. They were talking about the reason that Trump likes Mike Johnson is that he's basically a staffer to him. He just considers him like part of his staff. So there's no accountability or oversight or anything. I mean, it took a discharge petition just to get the Epstein files we have out released. Whereas if Donald Trump was innocent, I think the DOJ would be falling over themselves to do that. So I don't know. And we've got 3 more years of this. Like we're only through year one.
Let me ask you something. Do you think then, do you think it's fair if that is happening to Larry Summers? Are you cool with it? You think it should happen?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think just because Trump isn't being held accountable that others shouldn't be held accountable. Like the
No, no,
truth
no.
is,
But I mean, even with no clear connection that there was just him having an association with Jeffrey Epstein, you think that's enough? So you agree with what Harvard and others are reportedly doing?
yeah, I'm okay with that. I think what Epstein was doing was so prevalent and well known that anybody who was associated with it should be run as far away out of polite society as possible. I'm sorry, like I just we're talking about young girls and young boys and the brazenness and the disgustingness of it. Like I'm ashamed of the whole country, and frankly, I'm mad at both political parties because I don't think Democrats took this seriously enough either. Anytime
Mhm.
I talk about it, I get some asshole up in my mentions and wants to be like, "Why didn't Joe Biden release the files? Why didn't blah blah blah?" I'm like, I don't know, but I don't think anybody took this seriously over the course of the last 2 decades, and that's an indictment of the entire system. It's the indictment of this class of really wealthy, powerful people that think they can get away with anything. It's just like the financial crisis in 2008. They destroyed the economy, they ruined people's lives. Nobody went to prison for it. And that's, I think, a big part of the reason you get somebody like Trump, because if the system feels rigged to everybody, that they can blow up the economy, steal money from seniors, abuse little boys and girls, and they just get away with it. Like, why the fuck would anybody participate in democracy? Why would you think that the system works? So you just go with the most grifty guy out there who's going to promise to lower your taxes, which he didn't even do. So
Do you think that it was because it was such a cause celeb for Republicans that Democrats were like, this is because Democrats, and I'm not saying they didn't take it seriously. They did not take it seriously because Republicans were so hyped on it. And they were like, we don't care about this because um, we're not, I guess maybe they didn't think that people were guilty or I don't know why. I'm just wondering if that had something anything to do with it because it wasn't. Democrats weren't preaching release the files until Donald Trump says, "No, let's not release the file." And they're like, "Whoa!" Right?
I think it became, well, one, I think the functional difference between like the Biden administration, the Trump administration is Biden's DOJ was actually independent of the White House. That is not the case under Trump. Part of the reason, I mean, people forget Biden's DOJ prosecuted Biden's son from the criminal referral they got from Congress. You can argue that that was fair or unfair, but that wouldn't happen if Congress referred a referral to for Eric Trump. This DOJ is not going to go after them for sure. But I think Democrats didn't take it seriously because it felt like a conspiracy theory. I think they didn't take it seriously because Trump and Bongino and Cash Patel and all the others were making a big deal out of it. But I think that was a mistake. Like I think this is something a lot of people care about, and we should have been talking about it, and we shouldn't have been ignoring it. And I have to assume, on some level, a big part of the reason they were ignoring it is that a lot of people who were on the plane and on the island and abusing girls were Democratic donors and supporters. And I think we just have to be honest about that because I don't talk about this issue a lot because I think it's good for the Democratic Party. I think it's important for America that we hold these people accountable. Otherwise, we don't even have a country at that point. I mean, if we're not going to hold people accountable for abusing boys and girls, like what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. I agree 100%. Let's talk about 2026 and then thus
Yeah.
2028. So, we're almost in 2026 and this is 2026 is an election year. It's midterms. So, are we going to have a legit election? And who's going to, when do people start throwing their hats into the ring? Is it 26 or do they start at the beginning of 27 or,
For
um,
president?
yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll get people starting to announce probably Q1 of 2027. So January, February, March would be my
So
guess.
we got a year.
Yeah, so we got a year. They're going to be falling over themselves. There's going to be so many candidates. I assume that everyone is running until they tell me that they're actually not running.
Okay, like who?
Ep- ep- uh, every governor, Shapiro, JB Pritzker, Cory Booker, Gavin Newsom is already running for president, in my opinion. You can feel however you want about that. I know a lot of people like him. I'm still a bit of a skeptic. Stephen A. Smith, Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, J. Vance, Ted Cruz. They're all running.
Um, how about Kamala Harris?
I I would think yes, based on the moves that she's making, but I don't have any special insight. But she's expanding her book tour. She's doing interviews, a lot of podcasts. So I think she's certainly keeping that door open. Whether or not that's a good idea, I don't know.
Secretary Pete?
I think Buttigieg probably runs. Yeah,
Um, wow. Wes Moore?
I think West. I think West is going to run. West is staffing up. There's a lot of people that I know that are working over there now. A lot of really good folks, talented people.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
And who do you think emerges? Has the person emerged?
I
And
don't
by the
know.
way, I love that Stephen A. Smith said that not Pete Buttigieg, excuse me, Pete Hegseth was not qualified because he was a morning show anchor to be the Secretary of Defense. And I was like, wait a minute, you're a sports anchor and you
I go back and
want to
forth
be
on Stephen A.
president.
Smith because he's so over the place, all over the place ideologically. Like sometimes he'll say a thing and I'm like, yes, and other times I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? I don't even know.
I'm not
Um,
into it.
I I don't know who we nominate. I know that Newsom is considered the front runner right now on the Democratic Party side, but I think that's a lot of soft support from his social media and Prop 50. So my guess is that that'll fade in the same way that Cory Booker rose in the polls around the filibuster and stuff like that. I think you'll have a lot of up and down and left and right. I'm not convinced that the Democratic nominee is going to be somebody we're not talking about right now. And I don't know who that person is, but it might be that a dark horse emerges that people have never heard of before.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
I think she'll do very well in the primary, but I also think she might run for Senate instead. I think she might look at it and go, I'm not quite ready yet, or it's a big push and I lose my House seat, but that Senate seat's probably hers if she wants it.
Okay, I see. Maybe a little too old, um, but a very good chance of winning. And I don't think too old. I think the ideas are young, but people have been putting so much of a premium on age recently. That's why I say that. But I say Bernie and AOC would be a great ticket. I also think I do, and I also think that Newsom Moore is a great ticket.
I think if we run Newsom, we're going to elect a Republican president.
Newsom and Moore together.
No, I mean, no shade on Westmore. I like Westmore very, very much. But I think Gavin Newsom was built in a laboratory to make Midwestern swing voters hate him. And I think that Republicans will have a very easy time framing him as a West Coast liberal that doesn't understand your values. He looks the way that he does. He talks the way that he does. If you go look through his record, there's going to be a lot of things that turn people off. I know a lot of people like him, I don't think that happens. So
I
I
mean, you
think it
got
would
to
be
give it to him. He's a good-looking man. The
good looking
hair,
man.
the teeth. I mean, he's
He
tall
looks like every evil president you've ever seen in a movie.
in the
So
movie.
just like a
Hey,
little too polished, little too clean. I don't know.
here's the advantage he has over JD Vance, though. He's got a white family.
Is that an advantage? I don't know.
If you're talking about Midwest voters and swing voters or whatever,
I think that
yeah,
makes an
because
assumption that
but
Midwest voters are racist, and I'm not entirely sure that they are.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's not necessarily racist. Is that he looks like the family of what a president should be to many people. Is that racist or is it biased? I don't know. There's a difference. There's a distinction between bias and racist. The reason I'm saying that is really for the Republicans, not the Midwest folks. So I should take that. I take that back. What I'm saying is for the MAGA voters who are all up in JD Vance's ass because he has an Indian wife and Indian children. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so they don't like it. They've been very racist about it. And so if you look at Gavin Newsom is, I mean, blonde wife. She's a Republican. She's conservative. He's got the kids that look like what the MAGA folks think a president should look like. So I'm just saying that's where I'm coming from with that.
Yeah, it's still Gavin Newsom though, so I don't know that there's a brace. But you're right in the sense that there's a Nick Fuentes problem for JD Vance, which is Fuentes in the post Kirk era has all this influence, and I think that's going to be an issue. And I'm very interested to see what happens in Ohio because Fuentes is claiming he's going to war with Vivek Ramaswamy, who's likely to be the
Ooh,
Republican nominee. And he's like, I'm fine if the Democrat wins, which is a woman named Amy Action, who's great, by the way. So if they can swing that because Vivek is brown, that would be a hell of a bad sign for Vance. But I don't know. I don't know how much power these people actually have until they demonstrate it. If that makes
You
sense.
mean like the Nick Fuentes of the world? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
How much influence does he actually have? I don't know. And they tend to overestimate people's influence. Like Charlie Kirk, may he rest in peace, was not as influential as they act like he is now. Like they're like, he's the reason we won the 2024 presidential election. I'm like, no, he's not. Like he's the reason that all these young kids moved towards the Republican Party. I'm like, no, it's not. The economy was bad and people were pissed at the old man we had in the White House. No offense to Joe. So it's things are a lot more simple, and I think there's a lot of lionizing of Charlie Kirk to try to make him the modern conservative Martin Luther King. It's very silly. I think the same thing is true for Fuentes, which isn't to downplay his audience. I just don't know what that electoral translation looks like.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially about I don't know. You're right about Fuentes and Charlie Kirk. I was surprised. That's why I was surprised that, um, the pageantry and all of the pearl clutching about Charlie Kirk. Now it was sad the way that he died. Obviously, I'm not
Obviously.
saying that people were like, "Oh my gosh," but then to try to raise him or elevate him to the level of civil rights leader that they tried to it was completely stunning to me because he was none of that.
Have you seen Chappelle talk about this in his new special?
No, I have to the one that's is it out now? The one
Yeah,
on
the one that's on
Netflix?
Netflix. So he
Yeah.
was like, he brought up that people are trying to turn Charlie Kirk into the modern Martin Luther King, and he's like, by his very nature, he could not be Martin Luther King because he's an influencer and he is not like a civil rights activist leader. And he was like, try to imagine Martin Luther King at the end of a YouTube video going, like and subscribe. Like it was really good. But like that's it, is the sort of nature of like what Kirk did. And I think there's things you can admire about what Kirk built, and there's certainly as a content creator and as a leader of men and women, you can admire some of that. I don't agree with like most of what he says, to be clear, but you can emulate some of that in the context of bringing people together. But he's not a civil rights leader. Like it's just a very silly thing they did. And then now every time they send Erica Kirk out, she's got more pyrotechnics than Cody Rhodes winning the WWE championship at WrestleMania. So it's very very weird, and gauche is the only word I can think of.
Oh
So
my god, that's my favorite word,
is it?
gauche, that people don't use enough because it is gauche.
I'm a Midwestern white man. I feel like gauche is not a word that I use a lot.
Oh, I use that word because it is. I mean, because it's a great word. Is it a is it an onomatopoeia? What do you call the one where that it sounds like what it is? If you just say that's gauche, it's like, yeah, that's what it sounds. Not onomatopoeia. What is it called? I forget what it's called. But homophone. Is that it? No, not a homophone. But there's a thing like a word like
Somebody in the
F
comments help
word.
us out because I don't know what Todd's talking
Like
about.
the F word sounds just like what it is. Or if you say,
Yeah,
that's some shenanigans, you're like, you don't even have to look up the definition of shenanigan to know what
yeah.
shenanigan is. You know
I
what I'm
love the
saying?
word shenanigan. I think that's like a perfect
Yeah.
word.
Or if someone says that's some tomfoolery, you're like, oh, know what that means. Or
I like the word boondoggle. That's my favorite. It's like we're in the middle of this fucking boondoggle.
yeah, someone said it is onomatopoeia. I don't know. I didn't know. Anyways,
Isn't onomatopoeia when you could spell it in reverse? And it's the is
no,
that
that's a palindrome or something.
it's a
Yeah,
palindrome. Okay.
yeah. So
Man, I have
a
2
palindrome.
master's degrees. I should fucking know this.
Yeah. See, the F word sounds just like what it is. So I think you're right. You're right about Charlie Kirk, Nick Fuentes, and I think it's very similar to what Republicans did or do with the squad. Like they have the squad has this outsized influence in Republican media and conservative media that they don't even have in their own party. So
Right.
Republicans can thank themselves for the rise of Alexandria Ocasio Cortez.
Of course.
Moving on. What do you think of what's happening at CBS?
I think Barry Weiss is carrying water for the administration. It's probably the nicest way to put it, but there was nothing. I've watched the 60 Minutes story because it leaked in Canada. God bless Canada. If you can get us the Epstein files unredacted too, that would be sweet. But there's nothing wrong with that story other than what's happening in it is horrific, obviously, because it's about the transfer of migrants that are being kidnapped off our streets and sent to these prisons, but which I don't want to downplay is very serious. Um, but it was good research. It was good work. It had passed legal. It had cleared vet. I think, pulling it at the last minute was fucked up and does damage to CBS and CBS News, which I know a lot of people are going to boycott Paramount and boycott CBS News, but there are still a lot of very good journalists there that are doing very good work, and likely some of them will move on. And maybe they'll start Substacks. So we'll be talking to them soon, Don. I don't know. But to me, it's an example of corporate media is not going to save us in this moment. It's just not. And
Oh,
I had a conversation with Katie Fang on Tuesday, and we talked a lot about you, Don, too, is like, I'm grateful that you two were both, and I have a lack of any other better term, unshackled by corporate media, because you can tell us what you really think. You can tell us what you see. You can bring us that information. So my advice to anybody who's mad about the 60 Minutes censorship is go find your favorite independent journalist and go give them some money if you can. $8 a month, support Don, support Katie. Don't give it to me. I'm not an independent journalist. I'm a commentator and a Democratic strategist. But like, I think what you and Katie do and what a bunch of others, Aaron Parnas is another, I think is very useful and valuable, and we need more of it.
yeah. Thank you. You told him that?
I did. Mhm.
A man after my own heart.
Just trying to make you.
Yes.
I'm your Paul Heyman. I'm just trying to draw you money.
Someone says, people saying that the F word is an onomatopoeia. Most cuss words are because it kind of sounds like what it is. If you said that someone stripped someone, you kind of know what that means, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
I love
Uh,
I get so much shit from a very small part of my audience about how much I curse, and I'm like, this is just how I talk. Like, I'm sorry. I can't do it any other way.
my mom says, "Man, you shoot." She goes, "You sure use a lot of cuss words. You be cussing up a storm on that show." And I said, "Mom, you just never heard me. I mean, I grew up in a newsroom, and if you grow up in a newsroom, and probably if you grow up in politics on the being an advisor, a campaign, that wow."
Yeah, do you
I'm
know the
just
number of
saying,
times
every
I've
other
left
word is
number of times I've
yeah,
left the room after talking to a political candidate who didn't listen to me, and I went, "Fuck."
yeah.
So just listen.
What the fuck?
That's my favorite thing that happens to me on the internet is when somebody would be like, "Oh, you worked for that candidate and they did this thing." And I'd be like, sitting there going, "Yeah, I didn't tell them to do that." Like, not my
Yeah,
fault.
yeah. Someone says it's not. Yes, it is. Yes, it's the sound. So F is not an onomatopoeia. I don't know. That's what someone is saying. That's what V for
Listen, there's
I think it
multiple
is.
studies that show swearing is a sign of intelligence, so I'm just gonna roll with that and call it
I
good.
must be really intelligent.
You're very smart, Don. Filthy
All right,
mouth. You're
brother.
very
Make sure you tune in for New Year's Eve
I
for
will.
the
New
big
Orleans,
party, the
right?
big Don Lemon
It's
show.
donlemon.com.
Yes. Oh, by the way, speaking of, I wanted to here. I wanted to because you just mentioned this before we go. Hang on. Where it is. Oh, sorry, I screwed it up. My freaking fat fingers, man. Jeez. I cannot
All
type
that bacon
anything.
in the morning, Don. It's too much sodium.
Yeah. So they were, you know who Oliver Darcy is, right? He does a status newsletter.
Yeah.
So Oliver did the winners and losers, and let me just say what he said. He said, "Creator-driven media were winners. As instability deepened inside legacy newsrooms, more journalists chose to strike out on their own, and many were rewarded for it in 2025 alone. Veteran television newsers Jim Acosta and Terry Moran launched Substack publications after being forced out of their longtime homes at CNN and ABC. Meanwhile, Jennifer Rubin and Norm Eisen left their homes at the WAPO and CNN to start who's that? Norm Eisen was at CNN to start the Contrarian, which now boasts more than 500,000 readers. That's pretty amazing. Elsewhere, figures like Alex Heat, Lachlan Cartwright, Tara Palmieri, and Derek Thompson all went independent. They were hardly alone. After exiting their employers last year, other marquee names found real traction. Paul Krugman amassed nearly 500,000 readers on Substack. Don Lemon surpassed 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Taylor Lorenz expanded her audience across the social web, including more than 500,000 followers on TikTok. And Emily Sundberg's Feed Me climbed past 10,000 paid subscribers. Together, they all underscored that journalists no longer need the distribution pipes of the old media to stay relevant and earn a living, which
Yeah.
is amazing. And then they did some losers, which I found very interesting. Um, where it talked a lot about CBS. I won't even go into detail. Talked about CBS and then, them wanting Anderson and Brett Baer, and then they finally ended up with Tony DeCopel, the Israel Gaza peace deal, Sharon Alfonsi, blah, 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 blah. And then the other part, which was interesting, where they talked about legacy media and cable news. You're on cable a lot. It says CNN. While Fox News and MS Now have benefited in ratings from Trump's return to Washington, CNN has failed to recapture the magic it enjoyed during his first term in office. None of its primetime shows get anywhere close to averaging 1 million total viewers these days. Often the network is lucky for its primetime offerings to amass a 500,000 views, and CNN now mostly loses to MS Now on big political news nights in total viewership. Making matters worse, MS Now often bests it in advertising coveted 25 to 54 age range, our age demographic. While some of the ratings woes can certainly be attributed to the decline of linear television, it's hard to untangle the audience declines from the stewardship of parent company Warner Brothers Discovery, which threw out former CNN chief Jeff Zucker's aggressive playbook calling out Trump and opted for softer coverage, the editorial decisions that alienated most of its once loyal viewers.
Yeah.
Not good.
The only thing about CNN, I'll say, is they are doing some interesting stuff on digital that I think is doing pretty well. So they are diversifying in a way that I don't see MSNBC, MS Now doing. So
Mhm.
maybe that there's a long game there, but I do agree. Like it feels like heavy partisans are doing well right now. So far left on MS Now, far right on Fox. I was on Fox Tuesday night. Got yelled at again, as always.
You were on
Um,
Fox News on Tuesday night?
yeah, I did Jesse Waters' show. Charles
Oh
Hurt was
boy.
the villain host and wanted to do a Democratic themed Festivus segment that invited me on. So
And
it was fine. I mean, he was reading from a script, and I think Jesse would have probably pushed back on me a lot harder had he been there. So,
who
but
was
he
doing
asked
it?
me. It was Charles Hurt from the National Review was hosting the show.
Yeah.
I got him a couple of times. He opened it by talking about how Democrats never say Merry Christmas, and then he came to me and I went Merry Christmas, Charles. Like I didn't even wait for him to say anything. I just got it out because I got no problem saying Merry Christmas. And my favorite moment from the segment was he asked me about Hunter Biden's interview this week with the Navy SEAL guy, and he played a clip of Hunter Biden talking about having $15 million in debt, and he asked me about it, and I said, well, maybe Hunter Biden can headline the next Turning Points USA conference like Nicki Minaj and get a payday.
What'd he say?
He said nothing. He just moved on.
The weird thing is that I will say I have no problem saying Merry Christmas, but I am a respectful person. And so if I don't know if someone's a Christian or not, I'll just say happy holidays. And usually that encompasses Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Some people may be celebrating Hanukkah. You know what I mean? So if I know that you're Jewish, I will say Happy Hanukkah. If I know that you're a Christian, I'll say Merry Christmas. If I'm not sure, I'll just say Happy Holidays. But that doesn't mean that I'm like afraid or to say Merry Christmas or that I want to get rid of Christmas or it's some war on Christmas. It's just like being a decent human being.
It's just it's this conservative, whiny bullshit that I think we all kind of hate. To me, it's a lot like pronouns. I don't need to necessarily list my pronouns everywhere that I go, but if you tell me your pronouns are this, I will honor your pronouns and how you would like to be represented. Like I think that's fine, and they act like that's an affront to fucking civilization to have to call somebody they them. Like who cares? It's lazy and it's just them. They need something to whine about. I don't know if you saw it today. I woke up this morning. I watched the first couple episodes of Stranger Things that dropped on Netflix, and Clay Travis and a bunch of MAGA influencers are very upset because one of the characters came out as gay last night, and they're complaining about the gay agenda being shoved down their throats by Netflix. I'm like, it's a fucking TV show. If you're that threatened by a fictional character coming out as gay, you have bigger problems in your life. And it's just they're always whining about something stupid.
I have a suggestion for them to watch.
Okay.
Uh Heated Rivalry.
Okay. What's it on? Is it on
You've
Netflix?
never heard of it?
I've never heard of it. No.
Oh my God, it's taken over the internet. It's
Okay.
the hockey player show. It,
Oh, I have heard of this. Yes.
yes, it's a hockey player show. And yeah, that's all I'll say. I don't want to give it away, but you should tell them to watch Heated Rivalry.
Okay. I'm sure they'll be
Have
upset.
you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it, but my brother told me about it.
Okay, can you do me is your brother on my team?
Yeah, my brother's on your team.
Okay, so then will you watch? Do you have HBO?
Yes. Is it on? Is that where it is?
Watch the first 2 episodes and then hit me up. It won't
Okay.
take you that long. I'll watch the
I will.
first one and then let
I
me
have
know
to
what you
finish
think.
Stranger Things, but I'll put it on the list right after.
It's easy. Well, please, will you watch it for me today? It'll take you 40 minutes or
I
however
not.
long it is.
I have to go. I'm about to when we're done. I'm about to be harangued by a 6-year-old. So, but I will do my best. Sorry.
Bye. Thank you. Happy holidays. Merry
Happy holidays.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy
Happy
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah. Happy
Happy
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa.
Happy Festivus. Merry New Year. Merry Chinese New Year, whenever that is. I don't really know when Chinese New Year is.
Hey, you're the best. I don't know if I'll see you before New Year's, but it's been really great getting to know you this year, and
Yeah,
hopefully our relationship continues and our show grows. We have great viewership today, so
yeah, we
we'll
do.
see.
And hey, congrats on all your success. Over 1 million on YouTube is fucking awesome. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you. I'm proud of you as well. Make sure you like and subscribe, smash the heart. Check out Mike Nellis' stuff everywhere you get social, on YouTube, on TikTok, Instagram. You're everywhere, right?
I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere.
Everywhere.
Hopefully I'll be more everywhere. I'll be more organized next year when my studio's done. So we're launching my
Yeah.
studio live. I'm very excited about it.
So make sure you subscribe on Substack for me, and also on you can subscribe on YouTube. It's free, and also go over to Twitch if you're on Twitch. Subscribe there. You can get us everywhere. Substack, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're all over. Everywhere you
Wait,
get
you're on
stream.
Twitch now?
Yeah, I'm on Twitch.
Oh,
Twitch.tv slash Don
we're gonna
Lemon.
have to do a live Dungeons and Dragons game with Don Lemon, guys. I think we're gonna have to grab some.
Are
of the
you a
Twitch.
gamer?
I'm a gamer. Yeah.
You have it? Which one do you have?
I don't. I haven't launched a Twitch, but I'm on Twitch. And I watch a lot of like Critical Role and other like Dungeons and Dragons.
No, but
podcasts.
which game do you have? Xbox or what is it?
I have an Xbox and I have a Switch.
So which one should I get in order? Can I play you on Xbox on Twitch?
I mean, I like the Switch. I think there's a lot of fun games. Like, I think you and I could do a fun thing where we're playing like Super Smash Brothers with a couple people and just like smashing buttons and talking. I think
Yeah,
that'd
but
be
is
fun.
Twitch as popular as Xbox?
I mean, I think it just depends on the game, but there's a lot of Switch streamers out there. I have a buddy who does this like professionally. I could ask him, what do you recommend?
Ask him which one we should do, and then we'll do it. We'll launch
I
it
think we can find some
ASAP. We can take advantage of the after Christmas Black Friday deals or whatever it's called.
There you go. There you go.
All right, brother.
Thank
Take it
you.
easy. Bye. See you guys.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.